give you a chart, but you're not here. So that's it. So I can't give you. No, he was here last week. I wanted to give you a chart, and I sent you a. I got
it, and
I actually ordered it myself. So, but here's a basic, simple chart I wanted to give you, but you're not here. I can't
give it in the office. Stick magic.
Thank everybody. We're gonna finish some Tanya. As I said, we have only now 15 minutes to learn together. Let's learn a bit of Tanya. We're holding chapter 4, and which on page 14 in this photograph. Chapter 4 Tanya. If on Zoom, you can go on Chabad.org or just put into your Google bar Tanya chapter 4, and it's gonna come up. So we are holding with the Alter Rebbe introduces us to the concept of levushim, as he said, garments, which are garment. The simple meaning of a garment is what we wear, a garment that we wear, that each and every one of us wear. Which in one hand the garment enhances us, and on the other hand the garment really hides us. What's behind the garment? We can actually put on a garment and nobody would know what we are. So we can clothe ourselves in a garment. We can wear a total garment from head to toe. So the garment is that's why in the Tanya the garment is something separate. That's why when you come to koiches, when you come to the attributes of the soul, which we explained is the wisdom and the knowledge and the emotions of the soul, is not something you can get rid of. It's extremely something very hard to get rid of. Alter Rebbe says it's extremely difficult. Ultimately, every person can change, but usually the garments that you have received, I mean, the qualities of the soul, the wisdom, the capacity of wisdom that you have received is the capacity of wisdom that you're going to have in life. You're not going to be somebody else. You're not, as I said yesterday in my speech, you're not going to become the Rambam. And if you're going to be depressed, that you're not going to be Maimonides, then that's your problem. You're never going to be Maimonides. You're not be Esther. You're not going to be Esther. You're not going to be Deverda and Avia. You're just not going to be that. That's life. And the Avish didn't say you're out to the world to be Maimonides, the next Maimonides of the world, and the next Alter Rebbe of the world, Moshe Rabbeinu of the world. You're not going to be that. And there's nothing to be, that's not your avodah, that's not your service in the world. And therefore, you're just not going to be that. But at the same moment, we have levushim, and that is a garments that something could be taken off. You could take off these garments. You could put on these garments, and you could take off these garments. You can change these garments. And that's why it's very important to understand these garments. And ultimately, by transformation of garments, maybe ultimately it will affect the way your koiches, your strengths, your spiritual wisdom, and whether you're more chesed or more gevura, or whether you're more what do you say the right word, whether you're more optimist, pessimist, you're more the person who everything is wonderful, or the person who everything is critical. These are the way you might be part of your existence. People that are depressed, for example, some of them are an aspect, that's the way they are. They are just born depressed. Not something they acquired. It's something that's part of their existence. And we have that in the Talmud, Mara Shchira, Mara Levina, which means somebody who looks at everything in a black way, a dark way, somebody who looks at everything in a positive, in a white way, somebody who's more easygoing, somebody who's more not so easygoing, and that's not going to change. Nothing. It will be very difficult to change that. But the truth is, there's an expression by the Tzemach Tzedek who says, "Trach gut vet zayin gut," that if you start thinking, you start using levushim, you start to, even though you're negative, you put on a garment of positivity. You clothe yourself with positivity, even though you're not so positive. The greatness of the Gemara, Ethics of Our Father, it says, Beis Shammai, who is known as Gevura, severity, what does he say? You should always meet another person with a happy face. If you're a happy person, you don't have to, I don't have a Mishnah to tell me I should meet people with a happy face. But Shammai said, no, that you're Gevura. You're a tough guy. You look at everything in a critical way. So therefore, when you meet somebody else, you can always look at them in a critical way. No, put on the garment of a happy face. Put on that garment of a happy face. Don't portray yourself in a negative way, even though that's the nature of your existence. And as the American expression goes, fake it till you make it. But over here, it's not faking it. Lavush of chesed is a lavush. Right. It's not a fake. It's a real thing. It's a concept of kindness. Person should always smile, especially to others. You should always have a wonderful face because that is a garment. It's not a fake. That's the way it should be. Yeah. That's the way it should be. Nobody should be burdened by who you are. Pay them as a therapist. Nobody, not the whole world is your therapist. Not even your spouse is your therapist. They didn't sign up for therapy. They signed up to have a relationship, to have a wonderful life. And therefore, if you have problems, go pay a therapist and go scream at him. Yeah. That's what he gets paid for. And that's what he gets paid for. And let them go suffer. Yeah. But everybody else you need to put the garment of happiness. You need to put that garment. And then so too, if you want to, that's why in the three garments that over here that Tanya mentions is the three basic garments. One is different than the other. Machshava, dibur, maisa, which machshava is thought, that's the toughest one. The toughest one is to think different, which is the toughest way, because the way you think, you might be a genius, but if you're not going to be able to think in a different kind of a way, you're not going to be able to take the wisdom and think in a way that it can come down into like you can have a genius, a person that's a genius, and basically cannot express himself. He's a genius. He's an absent-minded professor. He's a genius, and the way he expresses himself, because nobody understands him. So he might be a genius. A genius has to be able to take his wisdom, bring it into his machshava, into his thought, the way he's going to want to express it. And the way he's going to bring it into his thought, to the way he's going to express it, the bush of his thought, the way he's going to express it is the most important thing. The most important thing is the way you think. Not your wisdom. I mean, wisdom self-understood. That's a koyach. The Eibusha gave you the power of wisdom, the power of being of understanding, the power of das. But it's all the way your machshava, the way you're going to take that power and decipher it in your brain. How are you going to clothe this geniosity? Everybody thinks that they are a genius, right? Everybody thinks they're a genius. You ever met a person who doesn't think he's smart? We say it in the Agada. I said it last week, right? Kulanu chachamim, we're all chachamim, right? Kulanu mavainim, we all have great bina. But mitzvah, you have to continue to say the Agada, because we have to be able to express it. We have to learn how to express it, right? We have to learn how to bring it out to somebody else. That's what the Eibusha, that's why God gave you wisdom, to be able to express it in dibur, to be able to express it into speech, and ultimately in the garment of action, in the garment of the way you're ultimately going to do what you're going to do with this wisdom. Oh, I'll give you an analogy. I once saw this analogy. So I could let's say 1 + 1, right? 1 + 1, right? 1 + 1 is 2, right? But I can say 1 + 1 is 3, right? I can say it. I can even write down 1 + 1 is 3. right? And I can even think, I can even have in the wisdom, my 1 + 1 is 3. But in seichel, in ultimately, in way of garments, in my machshava, 1 + 1 does not fit to be 3. 1 + 1 is 2. And you're not going to be able to explain to me in any way how 1 + 1 is 3. I can think that way.
Depends
I
on
can
your
write it.
equation. What's the
I
one
can,
and what's the other one? One man, one woman equals 3
2.
people.
No,
No,
2.
you get 3
A man and a
people.
woman is 2. 1
Takes
+
9
1
months.
is 2.
The baby.
1 + 1 is 2.
Baby in the
You want to go to wisdom and start to drain me a cup? You can do that. You can go and explain. You can go and talk to me, and you can explain to me. And maybe you'll find a Meshuggah out there. You'll convince him that 1 + 1 is 3. But it doesn't work in my seichel. The way I understand something, 1 + 1 is 2. Now, the problem is the 1 + 1 is 2 because that's the way it is. But we can take the same analogy in anything the way I think, the way my machshava works. You can take an addict and you can explain to him and put it on paper and you can show him. It's not going to help anything. It's not going to help anything. His machshava, he has decided that this thing I need. Or he decided I'm not even doing it. Whatever. It can be in denial. Whatever. It's going to be very difficult to do that, to go to another person and put it in his seichel, your seichel. You can give him wisdom. You can give him constant drushes. You can give him gahokle. He needs to push it sometimes, go to mamish deep therapy. He needs to go to deep therapy because he needs to push it to think differently. He needs to put on a whole different garment. Might take him months, it might take him years. That the rest of the world knows but to him it does not make any sense. And why? We see that ultimately is the levushim they got. So they might say, I understand it. But in the levushim, in the garments that they wear, they show openly that they disagree. Which means some cold water out here. They disagree. They disagree. They disagree. And there's no other way to see that, but in the way they talk, in the way they act, and the way ultimately they think. They disagree. And you see that in positive and in negative, like the Chachamim, they argued because in the Levushim, they garmented themselves. Hillel garmented himself in a Levush of Chesed, and therefore he took the whole Torah. He took the whole wisdom of the Torah in a certain Levush, in a certain garment, and therefore he tried to find the leniency in everything in Torah, the way to bring out a lenient aspect. And Shammai garmented himself in the Gevurah, and therefore he looked in everything away to be in a way more stricter. And that's the way these garments are going to basically be who we are ultimately. And these garments, you cannot blame anybody because you can change these garments. That's the main thing the Alter Rebbe wants to tell you. You can start thinking different. Nobody can tell you how to wear these garments. They can force you to do something. But nobody, they can force you to do things, they even force you to say something, but nobody can force you to have a machshava. What are you thinking when you're putting on this garment? What are you thinking? Nobody can. That's why it's one of the expressions that taught us in the Darim, the Kol Nidei is, some people say it was the, whatever, even though it's debunked already. Some people say it was the Anusim, the Maranos, who were forced to live as, as Christians. And ultimately they said to God that this is only, we're only acting in this kind of way, but it's not who we really are. So our machshava, our thought is not the way we are acting. To the prophet, you look at the prophecy, it says, take off your dirty garments. Dirty garments. And the truth is, that's the cleansing of the garments. That's the concept of what Gehenna is, to cleanse the garments. The cleansing of the garments. You cannot change, the neshama is pure. The koiches in the neshama, the powers in the neshama are pure. They're all positive. It's our garments that makes these koiches, these strengths in a negative way. Tanay was very religious.
So why? The way the most stringent.
General, you go to a rabbi for a leniency. If you want to be machmer, if you want to be stringent, you don't need a rabbi. Be stringent. You're going to a rabbi to begin with, to be maker, to find a kula, to find some kind of. That's what the rabbis needed, to try to find a kula. But you find certain rabbis that are very, very stringent. Some people like that. It's like that concept of stringency. They're not looking for the kula. Jews of Chassidim were not looking for the kula. We're machmer. We're more stringent and leniency. We're not looking for the lenient. Not looking for the way out. We're looking for keep it going.
You just want to find the right way.
Right. But the truth is, the stringency or the leniency is the right way. It's all part of Torah. Hillel and Shammai are all part of Torah. They're both part of the Torah. So there's no concept
of
of
doing two different things, and they're both.
No, two people are doing the same thing. The two are doing the same thing. One is doing it lifnim, and one is doing it a little bit more stringent. One's more machmer, and one's more maker. They're the exact same thing. The one who is machmer cannot, like the Rebbe, there's expression, don't put your chumras on somebody else.
Okay.
Don't put your stringency on somebody else. You're entitled to be stringent. You're entitled to be stringent. That doesn't mean somebody else needs to be stringent, and that doesn't mean that the person who's not stringent is not a Torah Jew. You want to be stringent, and you should be stringent. In essence, some things you should be machmar on yourself. I cannot hurt you. Stringent. You should be a more stringent. Machmar is true, what I do. So you should be more stringent on yourself, and not to look for the leeway out. The Frierdiker Rebbe would always say, you have two eyes. One is your left eye is gevura, severity. Your right eye is chesed. You should always look at others with your right eye, and you should look at yourself a little bit with your left eye. Yourself and say, you know what, I could be better. You don't have to look at somebody else and say he could be better. You have to say, you can say to somebody, unless he's doing something bad. But you look at somebody else, you say, Baruch Hashem, you're doing great. You're doing great. But yourself? No, you're not. 100%. If you're negative, if you're a depressed person, then you should say you're great.
You're too hard on yourself.
Correct.
It's not a balanced thing, but I don't think people.
Right.
Why
Okay.
are you saying
Fine.
that?
I'm not arguing. Most people, I'm not talking about general, like a Jew who went to school, went to yeshiva, learned Shulchan Aruch, he knows the halacha. He knows the halacha. He knows the law. He's trying to find in the law, how do you, the truth is, like when it comes to laws of nida, that's right. That a woman shouldn't say, oh, I saw something and therefore it's sabri impure. No, you show it to a rabbi. Don't be stringent in that aspect. Really, you can be stringent out. You'll be always tummy. You have to. That's why it's important to ask a rabbi in these kind of laws. Even though you say, "Why should I ask a rabbi?" I say, "No, you should dafka ask a rabbi," and because the laws of the purity. Yeah, so you have to ask a rabbi because there it's important. It's important to ask a rabbi. Or in the laws of kashrus, a lot of people think they did some mistake. Then now the thing is, it's not kosher, throw it out. You want to be stringent and throw it out? Okay, stop throwing out your dishes every time you make a mistake. No, you should ask it up. Maybe it's not, you don't have to throw it out. A person says, you know what? Every time I have a problem, I'm throwing it out. Well, it's your money. You can throw it out. I'll tell you the chasam. I mean, so the Torah is very worried about the money of a Jew, and he didn't want you to throw it out. So you have a problem, ask a question, and maybe you'll come with the rabbi will come with a solution that you don't have to throw it out. Most of the times, you don't have to throw out your dishes if you made a mistake in your house. Sometimes it's very easy, or even no problem at all. But the rabbi, I said the story before. The rabbi, when you go to a rabbi, the chachma of a rav is to make every question an important question. To make a question, say a person, oh, this is like a, I don't want to say the word stupid question. No, this is an easy question. In the story, I was once walking with my father, and he's a rabbi of rabbis, and we're walking to 770 on a Shabbos, and a woman came over and asked a question. She said, my husband had a question, an Akashi's question, and this is the question. And my father said to her, it's a very hard question. I don't have a Shulchan Aruch, I don't have the book in front of me. I'll go home tonight. You'll call me up tonight, then I'll give you the answer. I'll tell you the answer tonight. You have to come home at the Shabbos. Go to look in Shulchan Aruch to this question and give you the answer. So we continued to walk. I turned to my father. I said, I don't remember the word. I said, it was a pretty easy question. Like, why'd you say you have to look it up? So he said, oh, because I didn't want to say, I didn't want the woman to look at her husband and like he get a stupid question. I don't want the woman to think that her husband is asking stupid questions. And then she'll go back to him and say, well, what are you asking stupid questions? No, I wanted her to go back and say, wow, Rabbi Book couldn't answer the question. Very hard question. And therefore you have to go home and look in the books to come up with an answer to your question. And that's the way you learn how to not to diminish somebody's question, because then they won't ask any questions, right? They're going to feel that their questions are not important, even though it was not a hard question. Anybody could answer the question, but that's a smart person. Make the person feel that it is a hard question. And it is a difficult question. So next time when they have a question, they should feel that they're not going to be machmer. Because it's easy to be machmer. Everybody can be machmer. You're afraid to ask the question. You're embarrassed to ask the question. You think it's a stupid question. And there's no stupid question.
What's machmer?
Stringent. Stringent. I told you, you need a cheat sheet. You need a cheat sheet. Okay. So that's the beauty. In essence, your garment is the facilitator that has the capability to walk through the garden, as he calls it, the garden of God. To be able to walk to the Pardes. Pardes is a garden, but it's Pshat Remesh Drus Seid, which means to be able to walk through a garden of simple meaning of the Torah, to understand the deeper meanings of the Torah, to walk through this beautiful garden, is all in the way you're going to garment yourself. So that's why some people like to learn this, and some people like to learn that, and some people are uncomfortable with this subject, and some people are more comfortable with another subject, etc. Why? Because it's the way they walk into this garden. Is the way they walk into the learning of Torah. The Torah is equal to everybody. The Gemara, the Shulchan Aruch, the Chumash is there. It's open to everybody. The way you're going to walk into the Torah, with what kind of garment you're going to walk into the Torah, that's the way you're going to understand the Torah. That's the way you're going to take it in. That's the way you're going to garment yourself, and that's up to you. So if you're to come into the Torah critical, that's why it says, when you come to the Torah, learning Torah, you come like an empty sheet. If you're to come with a full garment, with a dirty garment, and now you want to fit yourself in with this dirty, whatever you have in your mind, with all these, concepts in your mind, and you want to now fit into the purity of Torah, it'll be very difficult, extremely difficult. Come with an open mind, come with a clean garment. Open your thought, speech, and your action to what this garden is going to give you, and trust me, The garden will give you unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. You'll enhance your life if the question is the garment you're going to wear, the garment that you're going to come into the class to. That's the beauty of learning Torah.
Are your
No, the garment's the way you wear traits and qualities. It's the way you wear again. Your traits and qualities are who you are. That's who you are. If you're a nudge, you'll always be a nudge for the rest of your life. If you're a kvetcher, you'll always be a kvetcher the rest of your life. If you're what? So now if you're a nudge, you have to garment yourself of non-nudginess in the next non-nudginess for the next 45 minutes. You have to come into the class, open your mind, open your heart to receive the concept. Don't come to a critical way. The content is really criticism. A person who wants to come to a class and he's already coming critical, and he's not interested. He wants because that's the way he is. Everything he wants to criticize, and everything he wants to question, and everything there's a doubt, and everything doesn't hate, and that's the way he is. Then it's gonna be very hard to learn, and that's why people don't learn. Because they have already, even they go to a therapist, it's very hard for the therapist to get through them. Because their mind is set, their garments are done, they are full, and that's why it says it's very hard to teach, it's very hard to put on a page, the Mishnah says, it's very hard to put on a page that is fully written something else on the page. It's extremely hard. How do you put it? It's not the fit, it's full. We have to clean the page. Empty the page. Come with an open mind. Come with an empty page. Now fill in, put in new things. Put in new thoughts. It might not be the way your character feels it. It's not politically correct to your politics. It's not, doesn't fit into the way you think, usually. A different thought. It's machshava shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a thought of God. And that's the way our machshava, our thought, and God's thought becomes one. Because I made space for it. I made space for another thought. The truth is, it's in general, not in between each other. We have to give space for each other's. You have to give space for each other's. Same Shabbos. Nobody's two thoughts are the same. And if you want to live like a hermit and you want to live with yourself, zun to hate. Nobody's forcing you to live with others. But if I want to live with others in peace, I need to give space. Anybody else? I need to make space. I need to be able to have a garment that has space for somebody else, which is not an easy thing. You can fake it, I'm listening to the other person. I can even say that wow, wonderful thought, but really in my mind, it's just it's ridiculous.
They just listen.
I know.
So they can finish the team, so they can answer what they already planned on saying.
Correct. So so that's why I don't want to say there's no true friendship in the world. There is. But it's very hard to find. If I'll ask you how many friends you have, you might be able to count it on your fingers.
Yeah.
Really, the Eibishter want to have a social of everybody. We should all be friends. We should all be able to sit together and enjoy each other. We shouldn't have friends that we can count on our fingers. Maybe. A yid, what the Alter Rebbe is, he first focuses on the Torah over here, because for a yid, for a Jew, the most important thing that he can have in life is learning Torah. The Eibishter gave the Torah a kli chemda. We should realize. I want to read to you yesterday's Ayom Yom. God gave every Jew an unbelievable gift. Gift. He didn't have to do it. He gave every Yid an unbelievable gift, and that is the Torah. Because the more you're going to learn, the more it's going to change. The more your life is going to change. So I'm going to read you yesterday's Hayom Yom. Yesterday, okay? I'm reading from Chabad Arog, Hayom Yom. Every day it's a Rebbe. The Rebbe writes every day. He wrote a book in 1944. He wrote a book, Hayom Yom, day by day. And he gives a thought every day. And you can get it. You can, Chabad.org has everything. I put the word Hayom Yom in my Google, and it came up right away. That's the beauty of Google. Wrote this yesterday. Torah study every day is crucial to life itself. This applies not only to the soul of the one who's studying Torah, but also to the souls of his family. For then, through Torah study, the atmosphere of the home becomes an atmosphere of Torah and piety. Either make your home a spiritual home, a home of Torah and piety. How does that occur? How do you do that? Through learning Torah every day. You need to learn Torah every day. God gave us all a gift that is a gift of all gifts. That we can transform the world. We can transform ourselves. And that is simply by learning. By learning every day. And then the Lubavitcher Rebbe begged everybody to learn every day. Chumash and Tanya every day. Chitas every day. And you should learn Chumash and Tanya every day. You should learn, everybody can open up a Chumash. The Chumash is divided into 7 different readings. We know that on Shabbos, the 7 readings. It's divided, and every day you should learn another part of that reading. Every day, in the morning, wake up, learn the first part of Chumash, learn the first part of today, the first part of the Pasha, from the beginning till Sheni. Tomorrow from Sheni to Shlishi, from Tuesday to Shlishi to the V. Every day, learn Torah. What was that? It's not a big deal. And if you're married, learn with each other. Learn with each other. Sit down and learn a piece of Chumash. Sit down and learn a little Siddur every single day. Because it is Kihem Chayein Verachamei. David, she gave us a gift. Gave us a gift. Your day will be different. And that doesn't happen in one moment. You need to learn every day. You need to take it every day. You need to learn every day. You'll see that over the time, you're going to start thinking different. Because you're going to get a thought the way God wants you to think, the way God looks at the world. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Rebbe, the beautiful gem last night, we showed it even here at the movie, where the Rebbe says, you see that the whole Torah, the whole beginning of Torah starts off with stories. Stories of the patriarchs. I always tell people buy books. They go to the library, they get books. Jewish stories. You want to read a story? Why read a story of a Baba Meiser? Right? Go buy a book of Medrash, even a Medrash on the Pasha. It's all printed today in English. Read the stories of the Torah. Read the story. Are you bucking the stories of the Torah? Are we purely, do we know all the stories of the Torah? Like you learn the Pasha, you know the story behind it. You know the Medrash behind the story. As Paul Harvey say, and now the rest of the story. Do you know the rest of the story? No, you don't. And that's why most people don't understand the story, because they don't take time to read the Medrash. The Medrash says, it's an art school book, you can buy it. The Medrash says, does that book, if you read the Pasha, the story, the Medrash behind the story, and if you can buy now Medrash Rabbah, the Medrash Rabbah is a beautiful Medrash. Can you buy it? And you can buy today the Medrash Rabbah in English, and you can buy it. And the truth is, today, don't even buy it. You find it on the internet for free. But if you can buy the book and read the Medrash, read the story, get the story. Who Abraham, Isaac, Abraham, and Sarah. This is your past. This is your beginning. Abraham and Sarah. Who were they? What were they? It's hard to get it in the pasuk in the Torah. Go learn the Medrash. Read the Medrash.
created the world. He's telling us how he destroyed the world.
That's last week.
This.
Last week, Noah.
He taught us how he created.
It's 2 weeks ago.
Right,
2 weeks ago.
and then he taught us how.
But today is important. This week is the most important week because today we introduced Avram. And what we say in our davening every day, Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, Magen Avram. These are not stumps. It's not like the forefathers of America, Washington, Lincoln, and Reisvas. This is the beginning of our history. This is the beginning of Yiddishkeit. These are important stories. Those stories are going to tell us what it means to live our life. What means Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov? What were these people? And who are these people? And what they mean to us? We should connect to these things. We don't realize that these are Pasha, beautiful things, the way we should affect our lives. Okay, let's go over here. Let's learn something because I'm already running late. So the left paragraph over here, we're in the second paragraph, especially the faculty of Chabad in his soul are clothed in the comprehension of the Torah, which he comprehends in Pardes, as a garden, to the extent of his mental capacity and the supernal root of his soul. And then ultimately in the midas, namely fear and love, together with their offshoots and their ramifications, are clothed in the fulfillment of the commandments in deeds and in words, namely in the study of Torah, which is equivalent to all of them. For love is the root of the 248 positive commandments, all originating in it and having no true foundation without it. And that's what you can express. You can express a mitzvah through Ava. Are you going to close the mitzvah? You can take a mitzvah itself and you can express it, a good commandment. You can express it through love, or you can kvetch. You can do the mitzvah, do the positive deed, and do it in a kvetching way, right? In a gevura way, in a garment of gevura. I'm doing the mitzvah. I'm doing the good deed. I did it. But am I going to do it through Ava? Am I going to express it through love? Am I going to put the garment of love on? I'm going to put the garment of gevura on. What garment am I going to wear? I did the positive thing. That's why, it says, the Alter Rebbe will say later, the two powerful garments of a human being is simcha and atzvus, depression. Both of these garments are not a mitzvah or an aveda, right? There's no mitzvah besides a yontif to be simcha, to be happy. There's no aveda to be depressed. Not 1 to 365 aveda is depression. I mean, the person that's depressed, he's not doing an aveda. But everything is elevated through joy, and everything is demoted through depression, through sadness. It is the way it is. You're not doing an aveda, that's who you are. You're depressed. Maybe you deserve to be depressed, whatever. But everything is going to be demoted in life through depression. Everything in life is affected. Everything. You clothe everything in a depressed way. So everything becomes depressed. Your home becomes depressed. And people you rise are depressed, and you make everybody depressed. That's who you are. You clothe yourself that way, and you're not doing anything wrong, but you are doing everything in a negative way. And then you can clothe yourself in joy. Garment yourself in joy, and everything you do will be a joyful situation. It will be a happy situation. Now, you might say, what is the difference to the mitzvah? But I've done the mitzvah. It's a big difference. It's a very big. We don't have to go through the difference. Everybody understands over here the difference between doing something in joy and doing something in a non-joyful way. And self-understood that to affect the world, we need to do it through the concept of joy. We need to garment ourselves in the garment of joy. It's going to simply change the world. That's the beauty of this concept. So he continues out to Rebbe for love is the root of the love is the root of 248 positive commandments. It's interesting. Love is the root of the 248 positive commandments. That's what Kabbalah says. Love is the root. A commandment, what is it? Why is it the root? Because what did the Eibishter want with a commandment? The Eibishter wanted a commandment to affect the world. That was the positive commandment, to affect the world, to do something with the world. And there's no greater way to affect the world but through joy. Simcha poiretz geder. Joy breaks all boundaries. There's no greater boundary in the world than the boundary of the world itself. The world creates boundaries. That's the world. The world itself in Hebrew is Helam, is darkness, boundaries, limitations. There's no greater way to break limitations than the concept of joy. The concept of happiness. Was walking by on Friday night. I was walking myself, walking home. So we passed it was a pizza store, not kosher pizza store. So walking, I see these elderly couple, they're fighting with each other. It was, in the high 80s. And they're fighting with each other, screaming at each other. I walked over to them. I said, do you need any rabbinical help? So they started to laugh. Both of them started to laugh. Made them happy, right? They broke the ice. What happened after? I don't know. I left. But bring some joy into this deep argument. Deep argument. Hopefully, they saw that you're 60 years married or British. So what are you guys arguing? Right? Bring some levity. Bring some joy into every. If you bring joy into every argument, you'll stop arguing. Bring some happiness into every argument. The argument will disappear.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Bring levity, bring happiness. Happiness breaks all boundaries. Joy breaks all boundaries. And that's why the Eibishter wanted to break boundaries of the mitzvah. That's what he said, I want a physical thing. I want to break the physical. I want to elevate the physical. And how does he elevate the physical? By the mitzvah, but through joy. Joy will break it. If not, sometimes you could do a mitzvah in a very unhappy way. And he did a mitzvah. The mitzvah, as Alter Rebbe says, if you do it in an unhappy way, stays in this world. It's not elevated to a higher degree. It doesn't break the world. The world, the dimensions of the world are broken through joy, through ava, through love. That's what we see, the ultimate thing in the world. Ava brings people together. Love brings people together. Joy brings people together. Love breaks all concepts. People that are different come together in love.
The concept of love is so much different than.
I understand, because it's not a real love in the outside world. That's why it's not a love that survives. So that's why it's not a real love. People say they're in love, and then they get the 70% of people that are in love are getting divorced. Where is all the ava? Where is all the love? Where you guys came out too early? You have 10 minutes. Give us another 10 minutes. You're too early. So the ava needs to. The ava, it's not a true love. It's a love that is very limited to their love itself. They got into love with limitations. Love is unlimited. If you understand the word meaning of love, is an unlimited love. Therefore, we don't say. I said this word. I'll say it again. I've said it a couple of times. It's a Manas Friedman's word.
Yeah.
You don't get married because you love the person. You get married because you love marriage. I mean, If you have to love the concept. You have to love the concept of marriage. And therefore, even if suddenly you're not going to love the person for whatever reason, but you're still in love because you understand that the struggles in life is going to bring about a struggle in love, but you love marriage. You love relationships. You love the relationship. Understand? It's a very deep concept, but it's a very true concept. Because we get married, we're loving the person, and suddenly you don't love him. Suddenly there's a problem, right? There's an issue. Same thing is when it comes to God. I love the Eibishter, therefore I do his mitzvahs. I might not be wanting to do this mitzvah right now. It's a conflict in what's happening in my life right now. I have a conflict, but if I love God, therefore there's no conflict. I will overcome this conflict because I love God. And once I love God, there is no conflict, even though there is a conflict, but I can overcome this conflict because this conflict is a monetary, it's a momentarily conflict. It's a conflict that's happening right now. But I love the Eibishter. That's above time and space. I love God. I love marriage. That's above time and space. Not about what's happening right now. Marriage is a concept. It's a concept. It's a concept that the Eibishter created that people should get married and have relationships, even though there's going to be a lot of conflicts and there's going to be a lot of challenges. But the Eibishter loves marriage. And I love marriage. And so too in everything. The Eibishter says, I know that I'm going to give you a Torah. It's going to be conflict. It's going to be conflict in money. It's going to be conflict in time. And it's going to be conflict maybe in who you are. But I love God. You should love God. I love you and you should love me. And therefore this love should triumphant all conflicts. And that's why Avram Avinu, the Rebbe writes, Avram Avinu is so important to us. He didn't have conflicts. He had great conflicts. He had conflict the whole world. He was called the other side. He conflicted the whole world. Everybody went against him. His own parents, own family, everybody was against him. But he did everything with joy, with alacrity. That's the right word. He did everything with zrizos. Everything with him was with great anticipation because he loved the Eibishter. Just says, Avram Oyavi, Avram loved me. I love him because Avram loved me. And therefore, Avram Avinu overcame all his challenges. They were easy challenges. Not because they weren't a challenge to him, because he loved God. And that's why Avram Avinu is important to us, because we should have Avram inherited. We learned that in Tanay, we learned that in Chassidus. Avram inherited, if he inherited one thing to every Jew, his love of God, his love of the Eibishter, his love of God. He gave us all the capability to have love of God, and that love makes everything unconditional. That doesn't mean, again, when I have problems, we're not going to struggle. We will struggle. We do struggle. But love of the Eibishter triumphs everything. We all have the love of the Eibishter. We all love God. And therefore, we will overcome these struggles. We'll overcome these struggles, these momentary struggles, these moment struggles that we go through in life. That's human. We're going to go through struggles. And so too, in marriage, the commitment, what you also call the commitment is the institution of marriage, the commitment. Will we have problems? Yeah, but we're committed to this, to the marriage. Will we have good days and bad days? Will we not like each other some days? Maybe. Have I never? But that's life. Some days we're not in a good mood. And some days it's not a good day. But we're committed to the marriage, committed to the institution of marriage. And that's why a chassan says under the chuppah, he says that he doesn't say, I love you. I married you because I love you. I married you because you're beautiful. I married you because you're phenomenal. No, You are sanctified to me according to the laws of Moses in Israel. Because of Moses in Israel, the Torah who said that we should get married, that the Eibishter asked us a mitzvah to get married. And that's why this marriage is going to last. Why? Because we are committed to each other according to the laws of the Torah. And the Torah is begging us, and God brought us together. And therefore, we are always, through our struggles in life, are always going to be committed to the institution of marriage.
Amen.
And you know why? Not that you shouldn't love each other. That's marriage will not survive if you ultimately don't love each other. Trust me. But if I am committed, I understand the beauty of marriage and the beauty of this relationship, then it will teach me how to love one another. Because I'll realize the quality in my partner, what he brings to this institution, what he brings to this mitzvah. The joy we bring to each other with this mitzvah. It's a whole different way of looking at things, self-understood. And that's why it endures. That's why it endures. And you see the opposite in the world. Opposites, you see, and ultimately it has affected even Jewish marriages that don't, it has, because we become whatever, takes two to tango, and people become selfish, and they become self-centered, and they forget the institution of marriage. Forget why they got married. They got married as a yid, because the Eibishter brought us together. Eibishter loves this. We love it. And together we're going to build a binyan adayad. Together we're going to build an everlasting situation. So too, we're together going to build an everlasting situation of Yidden. It's going to be nitzchias. The Eibishter says there's always going to be Jews who are going to be happy. And they're going to be Jews that are happy. There'll always be Jews. Everlasting. Torah will be everlasting because there's always going to be Jews that are going to be happy. There's always going to be Jews that will love me because I love them, and it's never going to be broken. So I wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day. I hope this was better outside here. And God bless you all. I want to say that next week, Sunday, we're going to only do the class on Zoom because I'm going to still be in California. So next week, Sunday, we're going to do it on Zoom. Now let the kids have fun. We took away the playground.